Dear students, welcome to the next lecture of physical chemistry. In the previous lectures, we have discussed about the classification, preparation, and purification of colloids. In this lecture, we will discuss about some important properties of salts. Salts have specific optical property, kinetic property, and electrical property. First one is optical property. In 1869, Tyndall observed that when a beam of light is passed through a true solution, it cannot be seen unless the eye is placed directly in its path. Whereas, the same beam of light, when it is passed through a colloidal dispersion, it becomes visible as a bright streak. And this phenomenon is known as Tyndall effect. This is shown in the figure. The illuminated path of the streak of light is called Tyndall cone. Tyndall effect is due to the scattering of light from the surface of colloidal particles. In the true solution, the particle diameter is not large enough to scatter the light and hence the beam is invisible. The visibility of dust particles in a semi-darkened room when sunlight enters or when light is thrown from a light projector are the familiar examples of Tyndall effect. Tyndall effect can be observed when sunlight passes through the canopy of a dense forest. It is shown here. The path of searchlight beams are made visible when light is scattered by the colloidal size particles in the air. These are some interesting examples of Tyndall effect. The intensity of the scattered light depends on the difference between refractive indices of the dispersed phase and the dispersion medium. In lyophobic salts, this difference is appreciable and therefore the Tyndall effect is quite well defined in the case of lyophobic salts. Whereas in the case of lyophilic salts, the particles are largely solvated. This lowers the difference in refractive indices of the two phases and hence the Tyndall effect is much weaker compared to that of lyophobic salts. Waves of shorter wavelength will be the most intense in the portion of the light scattered, and hence most of the colorless and pale colored salts have a bluish Tyndall beam. Tyndall effect has been used in devising ultramicroscope. A strong beam of light from an arc lamp or any other source is condensed by a system of lenses and passed through the colloidal solution. The scattered beam, that is the Tyndall cone, is viewed through the microscope placed at right angles to the beam. It is shown in the figure. In this way, the colloidal particles, which are too small to be seen under ordinary microscope, can be detected as spots of light moving irregularly. Using an ultramicroscope, the size of the salt particles can be determined. The Tyndall cone in the given sol is viewed using an ultramicroscope. Each bright spot of light seen moving against the dark background corresponds to a colloidal particle. The number of particles in a volume of the sol in the field of the view is counted, and this is repeated several times and the average count is taken. The dimensions of the illuminated volume of the sol, which is used for viewing the particles, is determined from the eyepiece micrometer. And thereby the sol volume in the field of the view is determined. From this volume value, the number of solid particles per unit volume of the sol is calculated. In the next step, a known volume of the sol is evaporated to dryness and the residue is weighed. Then we get the mass of the particles, and from this mass of the particle per unit volume is calculated. And we know that for a spherical particle, the volume is 4 by 3 pi r cube. For n number of particles, the volume becomes 4 by 3 pi r cube into n. That is the total volume. Again, volume is equal to mass by density. So equating both this, we get mass by density is equal to 4 by 3 pi r cube into n. Rearranging this equation, we can find the radius of the particle, which is given by r is equal to 3m divided by 4 pi dn the whole raised to 1 by 3, where m is the mass of the particle per unit volume of the sol, r is the radius of the particle, n is the number of sol particles per unit volume, and d is the density of the sol particles. Next is the kinetic property of colloids. The dispersed particles present in a colloidal system exhibit a very important property called Brownian moment. When a colloidal dispersion is viewed under an ultramicroscope, the colloidal particles are seen continuously moving in a zigzag path. There is a continuous bombardment of the moving molecules of the dispersion medium on the colloidal particles from all directions. This imparts a momentum to the particle to move in a forward direction, where again it collides with another particle. These collisions result in the random zigzag movement of the colloidal particles called Brownian moment. Brownian moment imparts stability to the sol. It opposes the gravitational force acting on the colloidal particles and prevents them from settling down, and thus Brownian moment is a factor which maintains the stability of the sol. This property was observed by Robert Brown, who was an English botanist, while observing the pollen grains in aqueous suspension, where it showed constant motion. Later on, when ultramicroscope was invented, it was found that the particles of lyophobic sols were also in a state of ceaseless erratic motion, similar to that of the pollen grains. And this kinetic activity of the particles suspended in a liquid was named as Brownian motion. The size of the sol particles can be determined by taking advantage of Brownian motion and Tyndall effect. The colloidal particles exhibit Brownian motion, and they are also under the influence of gravity. Due to these two effects, the distribution of colloidal particles in a vertical column of the sol will not be uniform. And at a given temperature, this distribution is given by an equation called Perrin's equation, which is RT by N0 into ln N1 by N2 is equal to 4 by 3 pi r cube G into H2 minus H1 into D minus D dash, where R is the universal gas constant, capital R is the universal gas constant, small r is the radius of the particle, G represents the acceleration due to gravity. D is the density of the salt particles and D dash is the density of the medium. N1 and N2 give the number of salt particles at two different levels, H1 and H2 respectively. N1 and N2 are determined by counting the particles at two different heights using the ultramicroscope and substituting the values of N1, N2, H1 and H2 in this equation, in Perrin's equation, the radius r can be calculated. Thus, the size of the salt particles can be determined using Brownian motion and the Tyndall effect.